You gotta focus on you. There was a point in time where I only focused on sports, money, and girls. And the reality is this, bro, like for all the youngins, right now you might be lit, you might be playing sports, you might be doing your thing, getting money, doing what you gotta do. But there's a few things that'll trick you out your spot, and you won't realize it until the years pass and you realize how much time you invested into things that don't serve you. And as a young man, the one thing that you have to focus on and that you should always be focused on is your purpose and what serves you and what your goal is and what you aspire to accomplish. What people don't realize is that as men, we tend to only focus on the things that we feel serve us. And unfortunately, at a young age, see my son right there. Come on. At a young age, we tend to think that having all the girls, having all the notoriety and things like that is what serves us. But that takes us off of our path and off of our purpose because I think about it, right? And I speak from experience. As a high schooler, you don't have anything else going on. So it's easy for you to spend your time investing it into women and things like that. But then I could say when I moved out here to Florida, I had moved over here, got in a really nice condo, 51st floor, ocean views, making some money. At the time, I was in a business that at that point was making a lot of money, 20 years old, making $15,000, $20,000. And that's crazy because I look back now, it really wasn't that much money, but, it's making $20,000 as a young adult, still be in college, I was a college athlete. I wasn't supposed to be making that, This way, I wasn't supposed to be making that, right? So for me, I was doing more than everybody that I was around or everybody that I had known, was another big downfall that I'll speak on in a second. But you tend to feel like you're on top of the world. And, what I ended up doing was I was entertaining a bunch of different women, same thing. And that took my focus away from my business. Like, okay, yes, I was making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month, but now imagine I had been fully locked in, no distractions. Yes, I have the nice high rise, I have all of this stuff, but imagine I would have not opened that up to anyone else other than myself and my circle who was aiming to grow the business with me, right? Just imagine how much more productive that would have been, right? So it's like, you getting the girls you want, you getting all the pretty girls, this, that, was lit, everybody enjoying it, but looking back now, as a 27-year-old, thinking back when I was 20, 21, 22, the amount of hours invested into women and things like that, it wasn't a big party or nothing like that, but the women themselves I was invested into heavily. And looking back, those hours, they add up. Those are all hours I could have invested into myself. And that's what you guys have to realize, like, that time spent, that time invested, it don't come back. And by the time you realize that you done been entertaining the same woman for 2 years, 3 years, and it hasn't benefited you or that person, right? And you start to realize, damn, I'm 25, and then now I'm 26, and you still, you might be successful in your own right, but to what standard, right? Because like I said, I was successful in my mind based off of what I was comparing myself to. And when you compare yourself to people that have less or people that aren't in the same situation or circumstance as you, it's of course gonna seem like a lot. But then when you get around certain people that they're making at the same age you are, or you were 20 years old, they're making $100,000. Come on, making $100,000. You like, damn, what the fuck was I doing? What was I focused on? And then you realize what you was focused on was bullshit. So I say this to say, you have to be solely focused on what you want to accomplish, bro, because the woman, they gonna always be there. The cars, they gonna always be, everything is gonna always be there, but the time that you have to invest is not always gonna be on your side. The time that you have to pour into yourself is not gonna always be on your side. And I learned that. And even looking back now, I know I still have a lot of time, but you have to move with a sense of urgency. And things that don't serve you, they'll get in the way of that, You have people around you and you say, oh, I'm doing pretty well because look at everybody else. But you comparing yourself to the 95% of people. You comparing yourself to the 95% of people as opposed to comparing yourself to the 5% of people that you're trying to get around. Trying to get around the ballers, the people that's really doing well in business, and you compare yourself to the majority of people. You have to see what you're doing, how that stacks up against people that's in the top 1% of your industry. or whatever it is that you're trying to do. You know, you're in the gym trying to get your body right, whatever the case is. You got to compare yourself to the top, not the people that is just starting. Because if you compare yourself to them people, it's never gonna look. You're always gonna look like you're doing better, right? You're always gonna look like you're doing better. But that's just not reality. So you got to compare yourself and see how you line up, see how you stack up against the top 1%, and then you'll see reality is, I have a lot more to do. I got a lot more to accomplish because clearly I ain't doing shit. You know, this is why your environment plays a huge role as well, because even when I walk around my neighborhood, right, like I'm in the back alleyway, but I'll show you guys kind of what I see when I take my walks. And that's what I compare to. I don't compare to less. I don't look at the bad house on the block and say, oh, my house is nicer than that. I look at the bigger house on the block. I look at the nicest house on the block and say, damn, there's shits on my crib. And it doesn't mean don't be grateful for what you have. Like, you have to be grateful for where you are, and every step of that way, you have to be grateful for, you know, earned and what you've accomplished and how far you've come. But don't settle, right? Don't let complacency set in, because when you come from nothing and you elevate a little bit, complacency starts to creep in. Well, I'm doing a lot better than I was. I'm doing a lot better than the people from back home, you know, better than the people from my hood. You don't want to do that. Come on. You don't want to do that, because once that complacency sets in, bro, you're going to feel that. Come on. You're going to feel the effects of that. So it's like, make sure that you stay, obviously, I wouldn't even say stay humble necessarily, but yeah, stay humble, but stay focused, bro. You got to stay focused, because once you start to accomplish the things that you set out to accomplish, it's time to set new goals, not to, you know, be complacent with the ones that you've already accomplished. You know what I'm saying? And I love that part of life, because that keeps us going, that keeps us running, that keeps us moving, that keeps us doing the things that, you know, a person probably not gonna do. You feel me? You gotta think about it. The competition as it is for you as a young man, bro, the competition as it is very slim. There's very few men that's making a certain type of money. There's very few men, you know, that have a certain skill set, you know, whatever it may be in business or whatever. There's very few men that have aspirations and goals. There's very few men that can speak to women. There's very few men that can do these things. And you might even be one of them that feel like, I'm not good at that in that area of life right now. And that's okay, you know. Awareness is the first step. Being able to identify and be aware of the things that you're not good at, so you can zone in and focus on becoming better at those things, is part of development. It's part of that process. And what I'll tell y'all, simply put, you have to you know, identify those things early on, but then make it a lifelong goal to continue to work towards that. You know what I'm saying? And I keep it this way, man. As long as you elevate in 1% every day consistently, as long as you elevate in at least a little bit every day, at least a little bit, like, it has to be something that you're doing on a day-to-day that is growth to you. And everybody may be different. To me, back when I was 20, I was working on my public speaking, and I was working on my sales skills and things like that, working on my brand and things of that nature, because I felt like that's where I lacked. I knew in person I had a lot of charm and things like that. Like, I knew that I could get along with people no matter where I went in the world. I've been to London, I've been to Spain, I've been, you know, I've been all over, and I've made connections and met people and gotten along with people all over the globe. But I realized early on that I had those features, but they weren't polished, you know? They weren't polished at all. Like, even speaking to the camera, I didn't have that skill. I didn't really know what to do, what to say, and it took time to develop, but it was me identifying what I needed to work on first. And as a young man, that's one of the main things you have to focus on, is where am I lacking? Where am I struggling? What is it that is the direct correlation between my results and my bad habits, or the skills that I lack? There's a direct correlation between those skills and the income you're making, you know, the results you have in your sport or in school. Like, if you know you're bad at math, you should be going to tutoring after class for math. It's very black and white. So if I know I'm bad at sales, or I know I'm bad at marketing, I know I'm bad at understanding how social media works to leverage it to generate income or to change my situation, then maybe I should study that, right? If I know I want to be a businessman, but I'm not good at business because I don't have a successful business, maybe studying business should be my main priority, or one of my main priorities. It's very black and white, and sometimes we overcomplicate these things because we tend to believe that, you know, we have all the answers, or that people get lucky and things like that. Like, no, all of this stuff is calculated, and people don't just get lucky and get rich, bro. It's not a luck thing. Some people do. Very few people. You win the lottery or some shit like that, or you get, you know, and even people that have it passed down to them, they're not necessarily lucky because they have to still develop the skills to maintain that. You know, usually wealth gets destroyed by the third generation because people are born into it, but that third generation, or whatever the case is, they don't develop the skills necessary to maintain and grow it. It's not easy to do, you know, because you have the money doesn't mean it's going to stay there forever. It's all about how you maintain it, and then also how you grow it. Not everybody's built to do that. You know, your grandfather might have left you 100 mil. That doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna be able to maintain that and sustain it for the next generation to enjoy. You know what I'm saying? That's the goal. Again, it's a goal that someone needs to work on to be able to accomplish. You know what I'm saying? It's not just a given. There's no such thing as that. Focus on what you gotta focus on, bro. But don't let the women, don't let the cars, don't let all the nonsense distract you. Don't trick yourself out your spot trying to show off to people who have less than you, bro. Like, don't get that car and put yourself in crazy debt. And now you're working your ass off just to pay for your car so you can have a nice car and look like, you know, you're doing better than everybody around you. That's not the goal, man. The goal is to be able to take care of your family, travel, see the world. Your wife might not even be in this country. She might be in another country somewhere in the world right now, in university or working on her business or something like that, you know? Focus on you, accomplish what you want to accomplish by becoming that person that will be the individual who's gotten to that goal, you know? It don't just happen. It takes time. So, you know, keep your mind focused, keep your mind sharp. And whatever you got to work on, bro, focus on that. Don't lose sight of what the real goal is and real purpose of your development and your growth is. And that's really all I wanted to tell y'all, because I understand that time flies, bro. You might be 16 right now, 17, 18. The reality is, bro, you're only going to be this age one time. So every hour invested in that year, you're going to feel the effects of that 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 15 years from now. So telling you from experience, bro, I'm not the oldest, you know. I've done a lot in my last, 10 years that I've seen life completely change for me. And I love it. I'm under the radar. I've been blessed enough to see massive results in multiple different businesses. I built a new business in the last few months that's doing very well as well right now. So it's a blessing. But I wanted to really just share that with you guys, because I know there's a lot of young men out there that trust me, bro. Like, I've been where y'all been at. I feel like an old head just saying that right now. I'm still young, but I did a lot. 19, 18, even in college, like everything just movie. You feel me? Trust me, movie, I know. But that movie ends one day and it starts a new one. And that new movie has to be better than the first one, because you don't want to be still talking about what you did in high school when you're 30. There's a lot of people like that, bro. You don't want to be that person, because what ends up happening is you only reminisce about these things because you have nothing to look forward to. And it's great to talk about the good times and the old times like that, but what's ahead? What's next? You know? You get to that point where you got shit that you looking forward to that's even better than that. It shits on the stuff that you did in high school. It shits on the stuff that you did in college. It shits on your early adulthood. That means that you elevating. You know what I'm saying? So what is it that you have to look forward to and work towards? And once you figure that out, bro, stay locked in and make shit happen, bro.